The UN has extended a decades-long arms embargo against Somalia. Security Council members say despite recent progress recorded, more must be done to ensure terrorist groups do not turn the country into a terrorist haven. From Mogadishu, here's CGTN's Abdulaziz Billow with more.
Somalia's government has raised objections after the United Nations Security Council extended the mandate to a panel of experts for the sanctions regime in Somalia. 12 council members voted in favor of the resolution that, among other things, extends a decade-long arms embargo against the Horn of African nation. China, Russia and Equatorial Guinea abstained from voting.
We take a note with reservation on the just adopted resolution renewing the sanctions regime on Somalia. We regret that the important inputs have not been considered to reach consensus. The federal government of Somalia goes on record again in seeking the lifting of the sanctions imposed on Somalia since 1992.
Mogadishu argues that the report presented to the Security Council doesn't reflect the reality on the ground. Through its permanent representative to the UN, it warns that misleading reports undermine government's efforts of creating a strong security force capable of ending extremist attacks in the Horn of African nation.
The panel of experts continue to report false accusations, claims and gossip undermining our reform efforts and our fight against the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. The federal government of Somalia will not tolerate the naming of Somali individuals and business enterprises being named in the past, current or the future panel of experts reports without reasonable standard of proof. In that regard, to pave the way for future collaboration, we call for the establishment of the reliable mechanism to redress.
A partial lifting of arms import to Somalia was also extended by 12 more months. In 2013, the UN Security Council announced a partial lifting to allow the East African nation to purchase light weapons. Experts say recent Al-Shabaab threats in the country and beyond require strengthening the country's security forces. In recent months, an elite unit of the National Army has increased operations in the Lower Shabelle region, pushing out the insurgent group from its main operation bases.
At least the last 3 years, the figures show that they have been emboldened and more assertive, and the numbers says a lot in terms of the casualty that they have inflicted, both the civilians and the targets, which is mainly the AMISOM and the Somali security forces.
Mogadishu argues that if the arms embargo is likely to remain in place, eradicating Al-Shabaab will likely be a big challenge. It now wants international support in securing its borders to curb the flow of illegal weapons, foreign fighters and other vital resources from falling into the wrong hands. Abdulaziz, Billow, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.